Welcome back to the Beginner's Guide to WordPress. This should be episode 4, where we're going to learn a bit more of our options on editing our posts and pages. For those of you who are new, welcome. For the rest of you, I'm Carolyn E. Cooper, and you may recall we just finished editing our How to Create a New Post in WordPress post, and we added our link and we highlighted some text and made it bold. And we've also learned that we can edit by looking for the edit option on our post if we have permission to edit it. So I'm going to go back and add some more content to my post. So here I am. I've made some some text in my post bold. I've added a link to my post. I've used the top row of little icons or option buttons. I've learned to hover over the option buttons. I'm just reviewing for you folks right now to find out what they do. And I'm not going to talk about a couple of these buttons down here right now. They're a little more advanced and we'll look at them later. But I am going to show you this little button at the bottom that looks like a button with a lot of little buttons on it. If I hover over it, it says Show Hide Kitchen Sink. Well, for those of you who are from the English predominant language, you know that the phrase is everything but the kitchen sink. Well, this is the kitchen sink. It's everything else. If you click on that button, you get a second row of icons with some additional editing options. Again, I'm not going to cover all of them because there are a number of them that most beginners don't really need to know or use, and in some cases I'm going to mention them, but I hesitate to do so because they're somewhat hazardous as far as I'm concerned. Certainly one that is useful from time to time is the Help button. It has the little question mark on it. You click on it and it offers the basic help screen. You can use this to find out information about using and editing WordPress. Creates a little pop-up window for you there. Things that you might want to use is if, for example, you've got some content and then you add another section to your post, another headline section to your post, let's call it. And we want to make that a headline, meaning that we're going to use one of our H2, H3, whatever tags. We want to format that for a specific headline. This button right here is the formatting options. So I can click the down arrow and I can say if it's a paragraph format, address format, heading 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and make this heading 3. I'll just make it a smaller heading. You don't want to go crazy with your headings. It can hurt your search engine optimization. It should look natural. So the search engines would expect some more, as soon as I learn how to type, I'll be good. Search engines expect more text after a headline. Now, the other thing that I might want to do is copy and paste some text from another page or another site. If you are adding text and pasting it in, there are two little buttons up here. One says Paste as plain text and one says Paste from Word. I'm going to discuss Paste from Word first. If you use Microsoft Word, there are a lot of hidden codes that you can't see, but when you copy and paste text from Microsoft Word, it embeds those codes, those hidden codes that you can't see with the text. So if you're using Microsoft Word to create a document and then you want to take some of that content and put it on your WordPress site or WordPress base site, then you want to click on this button and you will paste your text in here and click Insert, and it will strip out those hidden codes so that you don't suddenly find yourself with strangely formatted text and text doing things and you don't know why it's doing it. And you could go hunt it down in the HTML view, but we're not going to worry about that. We don't want to do that. The other thing you want to do too is you want to be careful is if you go to a site. I'm just going to grab Fast Company right now. And perhaps you found some information that you wish to share. And they're taking too long. Oh, here we go. Okay, so say I wanted to grab some information from this site, and maybe it was just a quote that I want to do, or I want to mention I'm talking about Fast Company's take on something, and I want to add it to my post. I don't want to just drop that post text in, especially if I don't really know the site I'm in. Again, there could be hidden code that I don't know about. So I want to paste as plain text. You should always paste as plain text copy that you've gotten from a website. Classic story I have to tell on this one, and I'll make it very quick so we can keep this going, is I got a call from somebody. Their website appeared to be broken. They had just added a new post, and it never seemed to finish loading the page. When I went to look at it and look at the actual page code, I discovered that they had copied and pasted from a site that was linking to another site, and they had gotten a bad bit of code. And so the page never completely loaded. It just kept trying to connect to this other website, and it never could. So that's when I gave them my little lecture about always paste text from another website or any other document. Paste as plain text. Use that button to insert anything you're copying and pasting as plain text, unless it comes from Microsoft Word, in which case you want to paste from Word. Okay, so that's my two big ones off of this. There is another little icon up here that I use quite a bit. That's the one that's the little omega key, and it says Insert Custom Character. So if I wanted, for example, to insert a copyright code, maybe a cent sign, one of the special, a trademark, that's very common to want to have to do a trademark, or a registered sign. If I wanted to insert one of these special characters, I can click on that little omega button. I get a little screen that shows me all the characters. It also shows me what the actual HTML code is if I wanted to use that instead, but I'm lazy, so I'm just going to let the little copyright symbol appear there, and I can paste in special characters. So that one is one that you use quite a bit. I will now show you, I will tell you, you should not underline text on most websites. Underline usually means a link, especially if you have an older viewer or an older audience. They expect underline to be a link, just as we see here, to indicate a link. So I don't recommend using underline. And the other one that I say use with caution, and I hesitate to even tell you about, is this little button here, Select Text Color. And if you click on it, you can select text color. The reason I hesitate to tell this to people is a lot of people get carried away and start trying to make all the content on their site a different color to try and make it important. That only makes your site ugly, and it makes your word confusing. Really, the only time you want to use this is if you have something that's absolutely critical, such as a warning, warning, do not try this at home. Or if you in your company perhaps use a certain color code to designate that something is for a particular use, such as administrators only read this information, or this information is for operators only, then you might want to color a particular set of text. But that's the only time you should use that. I'm not going to tell you about most of the rest of these buttons because you don't really use them. This one does do an indentation. Not often do people do indentations, but if you really want to find out about all these, there are some excellent books that I recommend on my site for those tags. And we're almost at 10 minutes, so I'm just going to go ahead and update, because remember, update saves. And then I'm going to let us view this post in a new tab. And you can see here's our news section, here's our color coding, here's our content that we've added in, here's our special character. So those are the rest of those little icons. In the next one, we're going to learn how to add other things like photos and other media. So come back.